that, and we don't have to do it with the double zero table. Now, if you really like that, feel free. I don't care on the test. I won't say one way or the other. I'll just say graph it. And there'll be multiple choice. There'll be 4 graphs there, and you just match up the one that looks the same. So you can do whichever method you prefer. If you really like making those tables, I think it's easier usually to do the slope thing. So I'm just going to go that way. So what do I mean by that? Like, how do we graph using the slope and stuff? Where do we start?
With y.
Yeah, you start, with that number. And where does that go on the graph?
1 is in the vertical.
Yeah, it's up 1 in the middle. It's always on the vertical, the y-axis, huh? That is that's called the y-intercept, isn't it? That's the y-intercept. 1 plus 1, y-intercept. So up 1, right there at up 1. That's the first dot. And then how do we find the second dot? All we need is one more dot, right? 2 dots. We got it. How do we find the second one?
Yeah, we rise 6.
6 over 1. Yeah, just put that whole number over 1. Rise over run. Rise over run. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 1. So from right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, over 1. Like that. And then we just connect the dots. And there we go. Up 6 over 1. Is that good? So you could get the same answer by making tables. If you plugged in X and Y and did that whole thing, but I think this is a little bit easier. So either way. So that's already comfortable for you, I think. Can you graph that one? Find your first dot, and then march off the slope for your second dot. So where do we start? Where's our first dot? Minus 1. So right there. At minus 1. And then where do we go from there?
Down.
Yeah, this is rise over run. Remember, it's easiest usually just to put those negatives on the top, huh? So I'll just take this negative sign and just put it firmly on the top. So I'm going to rise negative 5. So that means go down 5, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is. Connect the dots. And we've got it. So we went down 5 over 6. So our first dot started at negative 1, and we went down 5 over 6. There we go. Questions on that? Does that make sense? Carlos.
What's throwing me off is the X. But, because I'm thinking that has to go for the X.
Has to go for the, like when you say for the X, what do you mean by the X?
Because I understand like Y equals, but the X is throwing me off, like we need a mark for X.
Oh. Yeah, no, X is kind of just, you don't have to do anything special for X. It's just whatever fraction is next to X is the rise and the run. Yeah, so we don't have to do anything with the X itself. Yeah, it just means from there down 5 over 6. On that. Good, other questions I can answer on that?
Start is always in the middle line.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the first dot is always right on the middle line. Negative 1 is down 1. Positive 1 is up 1. Yeah, because the last one was plus 1, wasn't it? Yeah, so you always start in the middle line. If it's plus 1, that's up 1. If it's minus 1, yeah, it's always in the middle. And that's down 1 in the middle. Yeah. So the number off to the right is always your starter, and that's always on the middle line. Positive is up the middle, negative is down the middle, right on the middle line, the y-axis. They call that the y-intercept, because that's where your line intersects the y-axis, huh? That's what that number out here is. It's the y-intercept. It's where your line hits the y-axis. That's what it is. That's what people call it, the y-intercept. So same thing. Let's graph that one. So what do we have to do first?
Find one.
Yeah, get y alone, huh? All of this is about getting y alone first. So do that first. Let me write those steps out. So to graph, so step 1, get y alone. So first get y alone, and then everything will be the same way, about the starting point and the other slope. Okay, so we want to get y alone here. So what am I going to do to get y alone? Here's the wall, so to speak, and y is saying I want to be alone, get rid of all this stuff with me. So whenever we get y alone or x alone, anything alone, we always do the opposite of everybody with it, huh? So the opposite of the minus 2x, I'm going to add 2x. And whatever you do to one side, you have no choice but do the same thing to the other. Is that good? To there, and then that cancels. And so we get y equals 2x minus 3. Is that good? We can't subtract those or anything because these are unlike terms, huh? So now we can graph. Y is alone. We can graph. Let's go to the graph. So when I go to graph this thing, where am I going to start?
With minus 3.
Yeah, whatever number's out here. And that's his baby, that sign in front. You don't lose your baby. You keep it in front. So you start down 3 in the middle. Whatever sign's in front, right? If it's negative, that's down, positive, up. So whatever sign that is. So down 3 in the middle is our first dot. So I go down 3 in the middle. 1, 2, 3 right there. At negative 3, that's our first dot. And then where do we go from there?
2 up.
Yeah, you make this a fraction. 2 over 1. That's rise over run, huh? Rise over run. So you go from here up to over 1. Like that. Rise over run. Is that good? Up to over 1. Connect the dots. There's our graph, the graph of our line.
How old is Abby? No.
To be honest, I just got her age wrong the other day. So she is 12.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
she's
she's
12.
out of beat.
She is. She's mostly out of me. So is that good? Is that making sense?
Oh.
All is well? No questions? All right, so, but she's foolish about walking away from her mom and dad when she's young. She almost didn't make it to 12. All right. X equals 2/5 y. So we're trying to graph this one. So what are we going to do to graph this one?
We have to get rid of the fraction.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that fraction, right? We got to get rid of that fraction. So how are we going to do that? We got to get y alone. What are we going to do?
Multiply by 5, both sides.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing in one step, you could do the 5, just do the upside down. And in one step, boom, you'll have it. But you could do the 5 and then divide by the 2.
Can you do the upside down? Let's see.
Yeah, so both ways. Here, let me show. So you could say multiply by 5 over 2, multiply by 5 over 2. Both sides like that. And then, so the 5's cancel, the 2's cancel. You get y alone, 5 halves x. That makes sense? One step? So the reciprocal. I just multiply both sides by the upside. Because remember, they can cross cancel. Doesn't matter that the y is in the middle. You can cross cancel the 2's, the 5's, and the 2's. Y is alone. So I did 5 halves on both sides. Y is alone. There it is. like that.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? So you can do it slower in 2 steps too. That's okay too. So now take it from there. Can you? In fact, let me give a little more room to this problem. So it's x equals 2/5 y. X equals 2/5. So I'll just kind of do it one more time. So to get y alone, multiply by the upside down, because you're trying to get rid of everything with y, huh? And so that's what gets the y alone. Like that, right? Remember that? We've had a couple of these before. Just put in a +0 if you want. You don't have to. So
You start in the origin.
so where do we start then? Where's our first dot? Start at 0. Right there, like that. Start at 0. And then where do we go from there? The 5 and the 2, huh? So you rise over run. So we go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 1, 2, like that. So up 5, over 2, connect the dots, and there we go. That making sense? We good on that? How we doing? Is this making sense what we did? So we got y alone. We multiplied both sides by 5 halves. That got y alone. Start at 0, rise and run. No questions? We good? Or better than me, maybe. Have we done, maybe we haven't, done any equations, like write an equation of the line? Like, have we done any y equals mx plus b stuff? Not really. Okay. Then we'll go nice and slow, and it's all brand new right here. So, yeah, so that's the general equation. So that's what we've been using. Do you know what I mean? What am I saying? That's what we've been using. Well, like in the last one, I'll come back to this, but let me flash back for a second. So like this would be the m, and this would be the b. That's what we mean by mx plus b. So we mean, we use m for slope. I don't know why we use, well, I've heard that it comes from some French word. A lot of French people came up with algebra. So there's some kind of French word that means steepness, mountainous. Anyway, m stands for slope, and b stands for that other number off to the right. So when we write y equals mx plus b, we mean what we've been doing. So that's the equation, y equals mx plus b. And they're telling me the m is -8 there. So I just grab that -8 and I pop it in right there for m. And the -1/2, I just pop that in right there for the b. And so y equals, and the m is -8x, yeah. And then the b is minus, yeah. And that's all they want for that one.
That's the equation.
It's going to get a little more challenging, but that's the equation, yeah. That's the equation. We're not going to get a picture or do anything else than just that. So this would be something you'd want to put on your 3x5 card for the next exam. The y equals mx plus b formula. That'd help you out the next exam. That good? Is that making sense on that? Okay, so let's try that next one. So they want the equation again. Can you do the same kind of thing on number 6 there? So write that equation. So the next one's going to be y equals mx plus b again. And so they're telling me the m is 0. So it's going to be 0x and the b is -2. Is that good so far? So far so good? Like that? Y equals 0x minus 2. Okay, now, and then can we, excuse me, can we clean that up a little bit? Can we simplify that? Yeah, because what's 0 times anything?
0.
Just 0, huh? So that's just y equals minus 2. Like that.
Straight.
So that's it on that one. Is that making sense? Good. Questions I can answer? All right, I'll move on. Trying to read all your face, see if you're okay with that. Let me know. Here it is. There's what they're saying. Let me give you a game plan for finding the equation. Number 1. So whenever it says, let me give you a test. Whenever it says find the equation, step 1 is get the slope, which is m. And right now, they're just handing it to me. In a little bit, it'll be more work. So step 1 is to get a slope. Step 2 is once you have the slope, then you write slope equals, let me change the game plan here. Get the slope, and I'm going to put in parentheses, if no slope is given, then slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Remember how we did that earlier? The 4 numbers, where you plug in the 4 numbers. And then step 2, write slope equals y minus blank over x minus blank. And then step 3, cross multiply. So that probably looks fairly complex. It is. It is pretty complex. Let me show you right here. So y'all got that down? So let's give it a try. So step 1 is get the slope. Well, that's just being handed to me. I don't really have to do any work for step 1. In a little bit, I'll have to do work for step 1. So I got it. Check. Step 1's over. They're just handing me m. There it is right there. 6 is the slope. M stands for some kind of mountainous French word, which means slope. So slope is 6. So go out on to step 2. What do I do in step 2? I write slope equals in some kind of strange fraction. So let's do that. Slope equals, and you write y minus with a blank at the back and x minus with a blank at the back. Now, I know that you probably think, well, that's kind of weird. It's like the normal slope formula, but we put plain y, plain x in the front. By the way, heads up, I'm doing a little different method than the My Math Lab help button would show here. Their way's fine. If you did their way and you're good at it, or you're gonna, that's great. My way will avoid fractions. I'm always trying to avoid fractions, so it's a little easier. Students showed it to me like 12, 15 years ago. They'd seen it from some other teacher, and I thought, oh, that's nice. So it avoids fractions. That's the little math fun. Mine's different. I don't usually do different than their help button. So just heads up, if you use the help button, I'm doing it different here. So slope equals blanks at the back. And so now we plug into those spots. What do I mean we plug in? Well, the M6 goes right there because in the slope, huh? Tracking with me? So the 6 will go on this side. Equals. Okay, now what goes in the back of the Y and the X, do you think? Yeah, because this is an X value and this is a Y value, huh? Right, so 4 goes in the back of both those. Is that making sense? See what I'm doing? So you put the slope over here. Slope equals. So it's just like the way we normally use the slope formula, except I don't put in all 4 numbers. I don't have 4 numbers. I just put plain y and plain x in the front, and put the 2 numbers, the x and the y, in the back. So that's step 2. Slope equals y minus blank over x minus blank. That's step 2. Now step 3, can you read this? It's kind of got the words in the way there. Cross multiply. So what do I mean by cross multiply? So I'm going to put this over 1 and go diagonal, diagonal. Have you seen that kind of thing before? We got a fraction on each side, and you go diagonal, diagonal. So it's going to be what? Here, let me grab this. So it's going to be 6 times x minus 4 equals 1. And I'm going to get these out of the way now. One times y minus 4. Let me pause, slow down there for a minute. Everybody see what I'm doing. So I'm cross multiplying. 6 times x minus 4, 1 times y minus 4. Like that, right? And now we can distribute. We can just multiply through. The 6 goes there and there. The 1 goes there and there. Get 6x minus 24 equals 1y minus 4. How are we doing? We good to there? 6x minus 24 is 1y minus 4. We're almost done. Let me bring it up here and erase this. I know this is complex. It'll be kind of the same every time. So after you've done 4 or 5 of them, it'll be more routine. So coming up here, so we have 6x minus 24 is 1y minus 4. Good to there so far? Now, what look do they want to the answer? Well, if you go back to the question, they say they want it like this. See what they're saying? In the form ax plus by equals c. The form they want ax plus by equals c. So what does that mean? That means x's first, then y's, then numbers. That's what they want. They want you to put it in that form. So I'm going to have to rearrange this equation. I basically have it now. I just need to rearrange that equation. So it's x's first, then y's, equal sign, numbers. Does that make sense what they're saying? So how do I do that? Well, can I give you guys a shortcut? And you're probably like, yeah, we'd like a shortcut. A shortcut at this point, that is, if you just jump things to the other side of the equal sign, what's it going to do? Switch signs, huh? Yeah, so let's save some effort and just say, look, I'm supposed to have x's and y's on the left. I've got x's, no problem there. But this y, which is over on the right side of the equal sign, it's after the equal sign, I'm going to have to jump it over here because I want x's and y's on the left side, huh? So what's going to happen when that 1y jumps over to the other side? Minus 1y, right? When things jump to the other side, the sign in front switches. So this will become 6x. He hasn't changed because he's not gone anywhere. Minus 1y. Now, on this minus 24, right here, remember that's his negative sign. That's his baby. Don't lose your baby unless you're crazy. So negative 24, that's going to go to the other side because they want all the numbers on the right side, huh? And what's going to happen when that minus 24 jumps to the other side? He will lose his baby. It's going to become positive. And that minus 4 is still there as well. And that's still minus 4 because he didn't go anywhere. Did that maneuver make sense? So now we've almost got it. So 6x minus 1y is 20. That's what they want. That's the equation they want. So that was a lot of steps. So let's talk through it again. So you write this slope formula with the blanks at the back. You plug in the m for slope, the two numbers in the back of x and y, and you put 6 over 1, and cross multiply. Foil that out, distribute that out, and then kind of reorganize things so x's and y's are on the left and numbers on the right. Is that good questions I can answer? Well, on that, we good? Want to try one of those? Try that one. We'll go real slow. I'm going to wander around. Let's see if we can get this one straight. Just being real careful. right on to step 2. You want to write slope equals y minus blank over x minus blank, like that. So remember, so this is an x value and this is a y value, right? It's always alphabetical. X comes before y. So so basically the negative 4 is going to go there, and the 9 is going to go down there, huh? Tracking with me? So the x goes behind x, the y goes behind y. Is that good? So, and then the slope goes over here, huh? Y'all see that? Thank you, bless you. So what we'll get then is 3/2 equals y minus x minus, and behind the x we're going to put 9, behind the y negative 4. See the double negative thing? Be careful there. See how we're going to have double negative? So we go diagonal, diagonal. So I'm going to go diagonal, diagonal, cross multiply. So that'll be 3 parenthesis x minus 9, 2 parenthesis y plus 4. The double negative thing becomes positive there. Right? These two negatives become positive. And then so you distribute. So you get 3x minus 27. Boom, boom. You get here 2y plus 8. So let me bring it on up here. And we'll take it from here. So 3x minus 27 is 2y plus 8. So what are we supposed to do at this point? I'm going to grab that 2y, because we got to, well, let me see. Do they want that? Yeah, they do. They want the same thing. And they want x's, y's, the numbers. So I gotta get all the x's and y's on the left side, huh? Numbers on the right side. So remember, whatever sign's in front, that's their baby. Take it with them. So we switch them like that. When everything's trade sides, the sign in front switches. So we get 3x minus 2y is 27 plus 8. What is that? 35. 3x minus 2y is 35. Isn't it 35? 27 and 8? And yeah, now if you got this answer, let me give another one. If you got minus 3x plus 2y is minus 35, that's okay too. Both those are the same. Both are good. Math Excel will take either one, I think. Let me see. Let me double check. I'm not 100% sure. Both are right.
How are they the same though?
Yeah, because if you multiply through this equation by negative 1, remember, if you do the same thing to both sides, whatever you get isn't changing anything, because you do the same thing to both sides. You multiply both sides by negative 1, you get that one. Or vice versa. If you take this one, multiply by negative 1, you get that one. Yeah, they are. Now, you need to know that. When do you need to know that? 2 weeks from today when we take the exam. Because what if you have this answer and the multiple choice option C or whatever has that, and you're like, oh, is that the same? Should I grab it? Yeah, grab it. That's the same. So you do need to know that in that situation. Sorry. But that is part of learning this language, is knowing when it's the same thing in other words, in other letters. Does that make sense? Those are both the same answer. If you ever have an equation and you multiply through by negative 1, what you get will look different but be the same, really. Because you did the same thing to both sides. Right? Whenever we have two things that are equal and we do the same thing to both sides, the new thing's the same. Same truth. Just looks different. Right? Is that making sense? So you can, at any time you have an equal sign problem in any situation, you can multiply both sides by negative 1. What you get is the same. So they're both good. Either one is good. Both are good. Oh, I'm just saying we could. I know that seems weird. That's what I'm saying. Huh? Yeah, yeah, I know. How can I have something? If I say, "Hey, I'm," well, that's not a good way to say that. Yeah, I don't know how else to say it. Let's find the equation. Find the equation. Okay. So if you want to write that one down. So what's the first step when they say find the equation? It'd be good to put these steps on your 3x5 card. I hope you're all writing these down. When I write out these steps, they're meant to help you. So find the equation. The first step is get the slope, huh? See how this time they're not giving us a slope?
No,
So we have to get our own slope. We have to actually do step 1 this time. Do you know what I mean? Let me look back with you. Look back here. Look at number 8. What's the first thing they gave me on the one we just did? A slope. They said, here you go, silver platter. Here's your slope. 3/2, right? Look at one we did before that. Number 7. Here you go, silver platter. Here's your slope. 6. So these last 2 problems we've done, they just gave me the slope. I didn't even need to do step 1. I didn't need to work for my own slope. They handed it to me, right? Now, on this one, I got to get my own slope because nobody's giving me a slope. So how do you get, so that's what I'm saying in step 1. If no slope given, if there's no slope given, you do the 4-number, which we already did once tonight, huh? You just do the 4-number thing. So you get your own slope. Slope equals, or m, you could write m or slope, it doesn't matter. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So have you seen that we're using the slope formula 2 different ways? And on this very problem, we'll use it both ways. After we do this part, next will come the slope with the, step 2 will be the slope with the plane y and plane x in front and the blanks in the back. But first we're using it the old way, where I'm going to put in all 4 numbers. All 4 of those numbers. Can you put in all 4 of those numbers to find your slope? I'll go back up here and write them in. This is x1. Remember, it's always x first, then y. x1, y1, x2, y2. Remember, the 1 means first point. So this is first point's x and y value. That's the 1. The subscript of 1. This is second point's x and y value.
minus 31.
So
right?
plug in those 4 numbers. Don't forget, there's also minus signs built right into the formula in addition to anything's negative you're plugging in.
Okay, so that's 13.
Good.
So we got 13 equal S1.
How are we doing? Is that good? So come over here with the slope. So we're going to say slope
Y minus
equals,
X
and it's going to be
You get my,
y2, which is negative 6,
I have to go slow.
minus y1, which is 7, over x2,
We will write
negative 3, minus
that. We will write that.
x1, negative 2. Is that good so far, like we did earlier? Put in all 4 numbers.
Yes.
How are we doing? We good? And then we got to simplify that. So slope equals, and so just use your calculator if you want to. Minus 6 minus 7. If you lose $6 and then lose $7, you lost $13. And then on the bottom, 2 negatives right against each other. Positive, so it's going to be minus 3 plus 2. So that's a negative 1, huh? If you lose $3 and gain back 2, you lost $1. And then 2 negatives? Positive, regular, 13, huh?
Slope is 13.
Slope is 13. We good so far? That's step 1. So that's where they usually start us off. Huh? They usually just hand us that in a silver platter. They say, M is 13. Here you go. Well, we had to get that ourselves. We had to do all 4 numbers to get our own. So now we're at the point where we started the other 2 problems. Now we go on into step 2, and we write the slope formula again, but now the new way with the plane y and plane x in the front and the blanks in the back. Well, what numbers do we put in the back? Either pair. It doesn't matter which pair. You might be wondering that. You could do these 2 or the other 2. Doesn't matter at all. Surprisingly, it'll work out the same. Either way. Do you believe it's true? Such different numbers. But it'll work out.
But it has to be the same coordinates.
So here, I'll write it up here. So step number 2. So slope equals
There's no 1 and 1.
y minus blank over x minus blank. Good so far? So then I'm going to grab that slope, 13. I'm going to put it in 13. Y minus, I'm going to let me change the color for clarity there. So 13. Y minus x minus. And what am I going to put in? I'm going to grab this x value right here, put it in behind the x, right? X's go with x's. And the y value of 7 and put it with the y. You could totally use the other pair. It doesn't matter. It'll work out the same in the end. And now we just cross multiply. How we doing? This making sense?
Okay.
It's fairly complex. Takes some practice. So I wrote the slope formula with the plain y and plain x in the front and the blanks in the back. Put the minus 2 behind x and the 7 behind y. Good to there? And now we're gonna cross multiply. How do we cross multiply? What do we gotta do with that 13? Put it over 1 and go diagonal, diagonal. I'll go to a new screen. Are you tracking with me? This making sense? Diagonal, diagonal, cross multiply. So take it from there. From there, now I'm going to cross multiply. Diagonal, diagonal. 13x plus 2, right? The double negative becomes positive. 1, y minus 7, distribute. 13x plus 26, distribute. Y minus 7. Now what am I going to do? Well, you just got to put them in order. Now, do they want these in order? Because sometimes they're going to change their mind. It's number 10. Right? Am I doing 10? Yeah, they do. They want this. I guess they
want x, y.
Yep, so the same thing. So grab that y, jump it this way, grab that plus 26, jump it that way. So it becomes 13x minus y is minus 26 minus 7. 13x minus y is minus 33. And there it is. How we doing? Is that good? Questions I can answer? It's ready to try one of these completely? Let's try one. It says find the equation. And same kind of thing. All right. Number 1, it's all on the board, right? Step number 1 says find the slope with the 4 numbers. y2 minus y1. You can put all this on your 3x5 card for the exam in 2 weeks. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So then we plug everything in. Slope equals, so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
Minus y equal 1.
So we get minus 2 over minus 1, positive 2. So slope is 2. So then we come back up. So that's all, step 1. Then we start again, and we go slope equals y minus. So you use the slope formula a second time, huh? We're doing it twice. Once with the 4 numbers, and then when we get our slope, we do it again, this time with just the 2 numbers, huh? Just 2 numbers go in the back. Which 2 numbers? It's either the first 2 or the second 2. It doesn't matter. Pick whichever 2 you want. So I'm going to put the slope in here. The slope is 2. So I'll put the slope is 2. Let me change the color there for clarity. So the slope is 2. And then I'm going to grab 4 and 3. The 4 is the x, goes behind the x. The 3 is the y, goes behind the y. Or you could grab the other pair. It doesn't matter. Now, what do I do to cross multiply that? Let me move that up. I'm using up too much room here, huh? So that's 2. Yeah, put a 1, huh? Y minus x minus. So the x value is 4. Y value is 3. Yeah, you put a 1, and you go diagonal, diagonal, right? Because 2, a whole number, any whole number is really over 1, isn't it? So I go diagonal, diagonal, so we get 2 x minus 4, 1, y minus 3, distribute. 2x minus 8, distribute. Y minus 3. Now we got to get x's first, then y's, then numbers. So I just grab that y and jump it that way. Grab that minus 8, jump it that way. So we get 2x minus y is 8 minus 3. 2x minus y is 5. Good. How many got it? A chunk of you get it? So about 2/3 of you. That's good.
You got it.
Questions on that one? Is that good?
Make like another 3.
So yeah, let's try another one. These take a long time, but it'd be worth it to do another one. Okay, so there it is. All right, so it's, yeah, let's give it a try.
Equation?
Find the equation, yeah, so same. So all these are find the equation. All these ones have been find the equation. Find the equation, find the equation, find the equation. So we're going to find the equation. So what's our first step? What do we always do first?
We had the slope already.
Yeah, we don't have to do step 1, huh? They're doing the silver platter. Here's your slope. Negative 5/8. They're just handing us the slope. We don't have to find our own slope. It's just being given to us. Negative 5/8. So, what am I going to do then? I'm going to go right on to step 2. You tracking with me? Just go right on to step 2. You don't need to find a slope. Right on to step 2, where you use the slope. Not even going to. So I'm going to use the slope formula the new way with the blanks at the back, where I just put the 2 numbers in. I don't have to do the slope formula with all 4 numbers since they've already given me a slope. Right? So right on to step 2. So step 2. So I'm going to write slope equals y minus blank over x minus blank. And I put the minus 5/8 slope right there. And I put the x value and the y value. I put the x value behind x. I put the y value behind y. We good to there? And so what do we get? The slope is minus 5/8. And remember we always put negatives on the top?
Yes.
So I put that negative on the top. And then, what am I going to put in the back? The 0 and the 4/3. Is that good to there? Yeah, this is going to be a messy one. I'm encouraging here, huh? All right. So what do we do next? Cross multiply. It's going to have fractions. Diagonal, diagonal. Right, that's step 3.
Minus 5
Where we cross
times x
multiply. So we're going to get minus 5 times x minus 0. That part's not bad. And then 8
y
times y minus 4/3. And then, what do we get here? Minus 5x. Distribute. 8y minus. Now, how am I going to, it's going to be 8 times multiplied by 4/3. Not when they're multiplied. The 8 will just multiply the top because it's 8 over 1, huh? Remember, whole numbers are really over 1. So that 8 will just multiply the top. 4 times 8? 32/3. Does that make sense what happened there? How we doing?
Well, to find the equation, you just send it to the side.
Well, we'll get there first up. Is everybody good to that? Everybody see how I got that 32 thirds? So I took that in and I multiplied the y, and then when a whole number multiplies a fraction, it goes to the top, only the top. Why? Because it's whole numbers are over 1, aren't they? They're really in the top, aren't they? So they go to the top. It's 8 over 1. A whole number 8 is really 8 over 1. So whenever a whole number is interacting with a fraction, you got to put it over 1. It goes to the top. So we get that. Now, normally at this point, there's another wrinkle here. Normally, we would do just what Manuel said. He's just saying, hey, just grab that 8y and jump it over. You're done. You got x's, y's, numbers done. Right, if that's what they wanted. But if you look back at the question, they said, we'd like y alone now, please. They changed their mind halfway through. Now they want me to get y all by itself. See that? See how the last one, you can still see it at the top of the screen there. The last one was ax plus by equals c. That's, x is first, then y is then numbers. But now they're saying y alone, please. That's the format we would like on this one. So I have to get y alone in that thing. Does this sound like fun? All right, you can do it. Let's take it to a fresh screen here. So I'm going to grab this. This is what I currently have. Take it to a fresh screen. Got minus 5x equals 8y minus 32 thirds. 8y minus 32 thirds. So I'm supposed to get y alone.
We multiply everything by 3.
That's not a bad idea. I like it. Yeah, because we got to get rid of those fractions, huh? We don't want fractions in there. Fractions are problematic. Yeah, multiply everything by 3, right? That's the hitman. Take out all denominators, right? So multiply through by 3, multiply by 3, multiply by 3. Gonzo right there, huh? Cancels that out. So we get minus 15x, 24y, minus 32. Is that good? Got rid of all the fractions. That's the extra step there. And now we're trying to get y alone. What do we do to get y alone? Yeah, or you can, let's just keep going with the jump it thing. Can I just jump it to the other side? What will it become? Positive, right? It's the same thing as adding 32. See, I'm just doing a shortcut. If you added 32 to both sides, that would have the same result. It'd put a plus 32 on the other side, wouldn't it? See how it's the same thing? I'm just giving a shortcut now. I thought you guys were ready for the shortcut tonight. Equals 24y. I've been holding out that shortcut on you for a while here. So now, last step to get y alone. What do? Divide. And remember when we divide all 3, huh? Because we're trying to get y alone. Divide all 3. Boom. Y's alone. That's what they wanted. We don't care right side, left side, whatever. Y's alone. So now, what do I do with those two fractions? Simplify them. Reduce them, huh? Both those will reduce a little bit. So I can divide by 3. Divide by 3. Minus 5x over 8 plus. And what goes into 32 and 24? Oh, yeah, 8, huh? I was thinking 4. 8, yeah, 8's even better. 8, that'll be 4 thirds. There it is. We got y alone. That's a challenging one. Is that making some sense? How are we doing? Is that good? Questions I can answer. So 14. Slope equals -4. Y-intercept 0, 4. Okay. Same thing, find the equation. Okay.
Minus
So I'm going to write the slope formula.
Minus 4x plus 4.
Y minus blank over x minus blank, right? We're right on to step 2. We don't need step 1. And then there, put the minus 4 right here. And we put the x behind the x and the y behind the y. What do we get? Negative 4 equals y minus x minus. And then the x value is 0. The y value is 4. This is the, the x and the y. They go behind the x and the y. Good to there so far? And now what do? Cross multiply. Put this over 1. Go diagonal, diagonal. So what do we get? Minus 4 times x minus 0, 1 times y minus 4. Like that. And we distribute. So minus 4x plus 0, distribute here, y minus 4. Am I going too fast? Is that good? So I'm just taking this minus 4 times x, and then minus 4 times 0, anything times 0 is just 0. And then 1 times y minus 4 is just y minus 4. Now they want y alone on this one. Bring it up here for us. So we have minus 4x plus 0. Whoops. Kind of running out of room there. So we have minus 4x plus 0 is y minus 4. They want y alone. So what do? Yeah, just grab that minus 4 and jump it to the other side, huh? And so then what do we have? Minus 4x. When that minus 4 jumps over, it becomes a plus 4. And there we go. Is that making sense? Is that good?